ये रिवायती गेस्ट नहीं है, ट्रेडिशनल गेस्ट नहीं है जिस तरीके से हमारे प्रोग्राम्स में होते हैं पॉलिटिकल कमेंट्री के लिए या टॉक शोज के लिए। हम जो गेस्ट बुलाते हैं ज़्यादातर एनालिस्ट या दुनिया में कहीं भी जाते हैं तो हम जो है वो ज़्यादातर पॉलिटिशियंस के साथ बात कर रहे होते हैं या फिर हम ज़्यादातर उन लोगों से बात कर रहे होते हैं कि जो पॉलिटिकल कमेंट्री करते हैं। आज के जो मेरे गेस्ट और बहुत ही अपनी फील्ड के प्रोफेशनल हैं, एक्सपीरियंस हैं और उनका इंटरनेशनल लेवल पर एक पोजीशन है और उनके हम तजुर्बे से ये सीखना चाहेंगे कि पाकिस्तान के सामने इस वक्त जो चैलेंजेस है, जो क्राइसिस है, उससे कैसे निपटा जाए एनर्जी क्राइसिस का। तो मेरे आज के जो गेस्ट हैं उनका ताल्लुक है एनर्जी सेक्टर से और एनर्जी पाकिस्तान के लिए इस वक्त एक बड़ा चैलेंज भी बना हुआ है। तो यूएस पाकिस्तान रिलेशनशिप में हम कैसे जो है वो एनर्जी सेक्टर में इन्वेस्टमेंट्स को बेटर कर सकते हैं, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को बेटर कर सकते हैं, पाकिस्तान के लिए उसमें क्या options हमारे पास मौजूद है। So let me introduce you my honorable guest today, David Knight-Legg. He's a very well-known, I would say, expert, and he's a seasoned advisor in energy and financial services, with experience as CEO of Invest Alberta and principal advisor to the Premier of Alberta. With advanced degrees from Oxford, he has done his degrees from Oxford and Yale. So we would like to take some advices from him for Pakistan and for this particular sector. Whoever wants to invest in this sector, what they should do, how they can make it more better and fruitful for the countries as well. Thank you so much for giving your precious time. I'm really honored to have you in my show, and I'm sure because of your insights and experiences, my viewers will learn a lot of new things about this sector. So first of all, I would let my viewer know that have you recently visited Pakistan?
Yes.
So how was your experience in Pakistan?
It was fantastic. I grew up in the mountains in Canada, and we started in Lahore, and we went to Islamabad, and then we went out to Gilgit, and then back to Islamabad. And I was there for 7 days. And I'll tell you something that's interesting. I travel a lot and I advise governments and financial institutions and energy companies. And one of the things that Pakistan has that's incredible advantage is it's got a lot of young people. It's got great demographics. And it's got a very strong talent pool. So very bright people. And I think that when you look at any industry and you look at investing, it's going to be carried by the next generation. So I hope amongst your viewers are some younger people that are thinking about themselves and their opportunities in Pakistan and elsewhere, because I think it's great to travel and see the whole world. But they're the ones that are going to build the next edition of Pakistan in the next 20 to 40 years. And so I think when we're talking about investment, there's going to be a lot of people that look at investing into Pakistan, and you and I have talked about a couple of those firms. I was just meeting with some people here about their investment interest in the region, and they wanted to know my perspective on Pakistan. But I think it's also important that young Pakistani entrepreneurs think hard about their own country, because know my perspective on Pakistan. But I think it's also important that young Pakistani entrepreneurs think hard about their own country, because they know it better than anybody else.
True that.
They know all the rules of the road.
Yeah.
You can be book smart, but if you're not street smart,
Agreed.
You don't go as far in Pakistan if you're a dumb American.
Yeah.
So I hope that the people that are listening, as we talk about this, it's the young Pakistani entrepreneurs that are thinking the hardest about the investment in Pakistan. I can talk a lot about foreign direct investment in Pakistan, because that's the sort of interest.
I will definitely ask you this question later on, but I just want to know right now, which city is your favorite city in Pakistan? You've been to a lot of cities, as you mentioned. Where you enjoyed most, which you like most?
Well, Islamabad is an interesting city because you can tell it's a very modern city, right? It was created with those big thoroughfares. It's a very intelligent city. So a lot of cities are very, hard to navigate because they were built in the 1800s. You could tell Islamabad's built later on around an intelligent grid. But when you come from a country that's very new, like Canada or the United States, then it's really profound when you're in places like Lahore that have ancient history, beautiful buildings, incredible history, Sikh history, Islamic history, right? That's something I never grew up with. So I don't want to take, in Canada, if you ask people, or in the States, if you ask people, what's your favorite city?
Yeah.
That's a tough, you run some risks when you answer it.
I understand.
But if you come from outside Pakistan, you haven't seen some of these places, they're incredible. Like, they're really incredible.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So can you please tell me that how can US energy firms help meet Pakistan's growing energy demand if these two countries want to work together in this particular field? So what is the way forward?
Well, look, I think there's sort of three big themes, right? One is that energy is one of the single most important inputs into thousands of different businesses. So if you're an entrepreneur and you want to run a mine, one of your biggest costs is the energy that it costs to run the mine, right? If you run a trucking company out of Islamabad, one of your biggest operating costs is the fuel for your trucks, right? If you're running a company running data centers, the number one cost of a new data center is the energy supply. And so having consistent energy and having low cost energy is one of the things that produces economies that run very efficiently and become very productive and create a lot of prosperity. So energy is important not simply as an industry on its own, but because it's an input industry that makes every other industry more profitable when it's managed well. And so that's sort of number one. Number two, no country is sufficient in itself, right? Pakistan doesn't have everything it needs. It has to trade with other countries that have optimal amounts of the things that it wants. And so to create the right trading relationships on the right terms and the right trust with the right trusted partners, and you want to have more than one so they compete with each other to keep for security, is one of the things that helps create a very prosperous, dynamic society. So every nation has to be confident enough to start to forge good relationships with multiple neighbors. And Pakistan's got a lot of tricky neighbors, right?
Indeed.
It's always been that way. And this is one of the things that make Pakistanis very good business people.
So you meant to say that you cannot change your neighbors, but you can change your policies.
Yeah, and you can also, you've got to do what's best for Pakistan, always. And what's best for Pakistan sometimes isn't always having homemade version of something. Sometimes the best thing for Pakistan is have a great trading relationship with somebody that makes something really effective. You know, I grew up in Canada, and you know, I would rather buy a BMW than whatever Canada wants to make for a car, right?
Yeah.
Right?
So nationalism is more important in this.
Well, you want to balance. You want to do everything you do for the sake of yourself and your family and your community and your country. But sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself, your family, your community, your country is trade with somebody else that's better at something than you are.
Yeah.
And so having a positive idea of why you want to create the right relationship with foreign companies to come in and be prosperous inside your country. Because it's one thing to buy something from a foreign company. It's another thing to create the economic conditions that make that foreign company want to hire your people, train your people, and produce those things locally. And that's what foreign direct investment is all about.
If may I ask you that, what options available in renewable energy between the US and Pakistan, like what options they have in renewable energy?
Well, look, I think renewable energy takes multiple different forms. You know, you have solar, biomass, wind, hydro, geothermal, and any particular form has some benefits and some costs. And so if you look at solar is beneficial where you have lots of daylight hours, and it's the cost of producing it is going lower, but it's intermittent. So it's not very good for baseload power or operations that can't have any interruptions. It's very similar with wind. So I think when you look at renewable energy, the most important question to ask is, what is the application? Number one. And once you understand the application, which one of the renewable sources is best suited to that application? And And then once you've decided that, then you look at that particular renewable source. You say, which part of this is best built here in Pakistan? And which part of this would be best to contract in somebody to come in and build?
Right. So we need to identify and figure out first that what is our need, one, and secondly, the quality, and plus what we can build and what we needed from outside.
Right.
And it could be a good mix of these projects.
Sure.
Right. So you've been working with Alberta, you work there as advisor. So can we apply the same formula, what you have seen or done in Alberta? The same formula can be applied in Pakistan.
100%.
You sure?
100%.
Right.
Because the formula is about creating the right conditions to attract the right smartest capital and the smartest ideas and intellectual property to come and find a home inside Pakistan. And so it's the same whether it's Alberta or it's the United States or it's Pakistan or it's Japan, right? Every country has natural benefits that it brings to the world and other things that are easier to ship in. And so if you think about who you would most want to do a deal with, it's a good thought experiment. And you'll have some entrepreneurs that are watching this, just they should ask themselves, if I had to choose one really amazing industry for Pakistan, what would it be? What would I just choose to build? And what we found in Alberta was there are certain industries that are profoundly important on their own because they create lots of jobs. There are other industries that create lots of wealth. There are other industries that aren't as obvious, but they facilitate many other industries. And so an example of facilitation industries are if you have very well-run banks, they facilitate capital flows that feed every other possible economic project and company, right? So when you have a smart banking system that helps keep the cost of capital low, then you create the conditions for every company to prosper. It's easier for people to borrow money to expand their plant. And when they can do that, they can hire more people. They can create better products, right? But you need a good bank to support the expansion of those things. So the banking industry isn't just an important industry on its own. It's also important because it facilitates every other industry. And because capital is mobile, there may be situations where a smart Pakistani entrepreneur company wants to go overseas to get some of that capital in. It's also true of data now. So very smart telecom companies, very smart data companies, they're not just good companies on their own. They make it possible for every other company that depends on data and every individual that depends on data to be able to operate more effectively, more efficiently. So it helps everybody prosper. If you look at the most prosperous societies, what's very interesting is the three that keep coming up are Hong Kong, Singapore, and Dubai. And what's interesting about all three is they had a lot of very hard challenges. So Hong Kong is a rocky island with one port, but no water table, no natural vegetation, nothing to mine, no natural resources, right?
Yeah.
When you look at Singapore, it was a swamp off the coast of Malaysia. The Malaysians didn't like them. All they had was a swamp, no natural resources, lots of mosquitoes.
Yeah, true.
When you look at Dubai was the one Emirati that had no energy.
Yeah.
Just sand and some water. So what did they do? Because Pakistan's got way more resources than Hong Kong, Singapore, Dubai.
Absolutely right. I agree with you.
But if you look at the rules that created prosperity in those societies, there's a lot of things that they embraced. They're very hard decisions too. These aren't easy decisions. They created the conditions for prosperity. And some of those things are enabling industries. So if you look at, I'll just choose one as an example. If you look at what they did with airport logistics, which sounds really boring, but think about this: Cathay Pacific.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Singapore Airlines.
Yeah.
Emirates Airlines.
Yeah.
Those are the three best airlines in the world.
Indeed, they are. They are on
Interesting.
the top. Yeah.
Why, right? Interesting. How is the most successful, prosperous city-states also have the three best airlines? Because when you create a great airport and you back a major carrier, you suddenly create the conditions for millions of people to come through your country, spend their money. But also you create the bottom of the plane is cargo going in and out. And so suddenly it sounds like you're creating an airline, but what are you creating? If there's a Singaporean guy who makes really good noodles and wants to ship them to Japan and around the world, suddenly that airline is taking his noodles to the world, right? He's just a noodle maker. And if that airline didn't exist, he would still be running a restaurant for 60 people. But because the airline exists, now his noodles can be in 500 different restaurants.
Because they have their own careers, their own airlines. That's why they can spread it.
Right. So what they've created is you create an enabling industry is air transport and logistics, just like an enabling industry is banking. An enabling industry is data and data logistics. So one of the things I would say for Pakistan is you don't have to invent something totally different, right? Some of the worst places in the world economically have created incredibly powerful economic models. And when you look at what they did and why they did it and how they did it, Pakistan can learn a lot from that. And you have to do it not for next year or 5 years from now. You got to do it for your kids. You got to do it for the next generation.
For decades, you have to make a plan and policies.
And what happens a lot of times in politics, human nature, is somebody wants to do something to stay popular or to manage risk for 1 year from now or the next election. And the real statesmen run for the next generation. They make some hard decisions now.
Very true.
In order to create the conditions so that the next generation can have these enabling influences.
I can't hear you. Call me later. Good morning, doctor.
Good morning, doctor.
Doctor.
Kidney transplant?
Appendix.
I agree.
जब तक कॉलगेट मैक्स फ्रेश से ब्रश नहीं करोगे, नींद पीछा नहीं छोड़ेगी।
इसके कूलिंग क्रिस्टल्स कर दें इतना ताजा, you have no अंदाजा।
Ready for surgery?
Please.
Colgate Max Fresh, नींद भगाओ, ताजगी जगाओ।
मेरी सुपर पावर।
आलिया, म्यूजिक प्ले करो।
वेट, मैं लगाती हूँ।
चलो बजाओ।
कनेक्शंस की सुपर पावर। जैज़, मेरी सुपर पावर।
सिर्फ क्रीम नहीं, पाकिस्तान की नंबर 1 सीरम क्रीम। इसका एडवांस्ड मल्टीविटामिन सीरम गहराई तक जाए, दाग धब्बे घटाए और रोजाना इस्तेमाल दे 3 गुना ग्लो। 1, 2, 3 गुना ग्लो। ग्लो एंड लवली।
तेजी से फैलती डिजिटल दुनिया एक जबरदस्त सलाहियत के साथ साथ एक अहम जिम्मेदारी भी। इलेक्ट्रॉनिक जालसाजी, स्पैमिंग, धोखाधड़ी, बशमूल आइडेंटिटी थेफ्ट, चाइल्ड पोर्नोग्राफी और साइबर स्टॉकिंग और अनचाही मुदाखलत करना वगैरह संगीन जराइम हैं। अगर आप इसमें हुकूमत की मुआवनत करना चाहते हैं तो बराह करम हमारी हेल्पलाइन पर कॉल करें।
आपके बाल सबसे घने कब थे?
जब मेरी नानी मेरे बालों का ख्याल रखती थी।
जब हेयर फॉल नहीं था।
हेयर फॉल है डैमेज की निशानी, इसीलिए डैमेज एक्सपर्ट डव, जिसका 1/4 मॉइस्चराइजिंग मिल्क और न्यूट्री सीरम जो जड़ से सिरे तक बालों को नरिश करे, पहले वॉश से हेयर फॉल कम करे। अब बाल दिखें घने फिर से। डव हेयर फॉल रेस्क्यू।
लेज में अब 25% एक्स्ट्रा चिप्स।
काश लाइफ में भी कुछ एक्स्ट्रा होता।
कैसे? एक्स्ट्रा गेमिंग,
एक्स्ट्रा शॉपिंग,
extra horsepower.
Extra chips.
Extra chips. Lay's rupees 30 or rupees 50 pack with 25% extra chips. Extra chips.
Extra joy.
सिर्फ क्रीम नहीं, पाकिस्तान की नंबर 1 सीरम क्रीम। इसका एडवांस्ड मल्टीविटामिन सीरम गहराई तक जाए, दाग धब्बे घटाए और रोजाना इस्तेमाल दे 3 गुना ग्लो। 1, 2, 3 गुना ग्लो। ग्लो एंड लवली।
मानो दागों का डर कैसी फिक्र, ये जिद्दी दाग।
आंटी सर्फ एक्सेल है ना?
नए सर्फ एक्सेल की स्टेन लिफ्टर टेक्नोलॉजी खींच निकाले हर तरह के जिद्दी दाग, तो दागों से क्या डरना।
सर्फ एक्सेल है ना? ओपस ने दिल ले लिया। ओपस दिल वालों की चॉकलेट।
क्या आपको चाहिए शाइनी बाल? सनसिल्क ब्लैक शाइन में है 5 नेचुरल ऑयल्स के साथ विटामिन ई का सुपर मिक्स, जो दे आपके बालों को अप टू 24 आवर्स शाइन। अब बाल करें शाइन ऑल द टाइम विद सनसिल्क ब्लैक शाइन।
पॉन्ड्स स्किन इंस्टीट्यूट का नया पॉन्ड्स ब्राइट ब्यूटी फेस वॉश, जिसमें है नायासिनामाइड विटामिन B3। ये डीप क्लेंस करे, दे 4x ब्राइटनिंग, ताकि आपको मिले अल्टीमेट ब्राइट स्किन। पॉन्ड्स, मिरेकल्स हैपन।
घर से निकलते वक्त चाची ने गुस्से से कहा,
सुनो, घर बैठो और प्याज काटो।
पर मैंने सिर्फ प्याज नहीं काटी, अपना पार्लर भी खोला।
टूट रहे हैं, काट दो।
प्याज है,
प्याज
बाल टूटेंगे नहीं, बढ़ने दो यार। प्याज से बना नया सनसिल्क अनियन शैम्पू, ये पहले वॉश से लंबे बालों का टूटना 90% कम करे।
Wonderful. Nice shot.
नो टूटना, ओनली बढ़ना। सनसिल्क।
सागा डीप साइकिल ट्यूबुलर बैटरी, जिसकी लॉन्ग लाइफ और लो मेंटेनेंस बाकी सबसे एक कदम आगे। 12 माह की फ्री रिप्लेसमेंट गारंटी के साथ सागा बैटरी।
अम्मी, क्या लड़कियां पायलट नहीं बनती?
ये देखो तुम्हारे बाल, ये जैसे चाहे बन सकते हैं, क्योंकि ये मजबूत हैं। तुम भी जो चाहो बन सकती हो, क्योंकि तुम भी मजबूत हो। एक माँ ही बनाती है बेटी को जड़ से मजबूत। जैसे लाइफ बॉय शैम्पू का नया एलोवेरा और मिल्क प्रोटीन फॉर्मूला बाल बनाए मजबूत। लाइफ बॉय शैम्पू, तुम मजबूत हो।
मानो
दागों का डर कैसी फिक्र,
ये जिद्दी दाग।
आंटी सर्फ एक्सेल है ना?
नए सर्फ एक्सेल की स्टेन लिफ्टर टेक्नोलॉजी खींच निकाले हर तरह के जिद्दी दाग, तो दागों से क्या डरना।
सर्फ एक्सेल है ना?
पेशेंट्स मुझे अक्सर कंप्लेन करते हैं कि कोई भी ठंडी या गर्म चीज जैसे कि आइसक्रीम, चाय या कॉफी लेने से दांतों में शदीद तकलीफ का एहसास होता है। इस सेंसेशन को हम सेंसिटिविटी कहते हैं और इसका असर इनकी रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी पर भी पड़ता है। ये खुद से ठीक नहीं होती। सेंसोडाइन रैपिड एक्शन सिर्फ 60 सेकंड्स में आराम देता है और इसके बाद आप अपनी मनपसंद चीजें और खाने एंजॉय कर सकते हैं। मैं रेकमेंड करती हूँ सेंसोडाइन रैपिड एक्शन का रोजाना बाकायदगी से इस्तेमाल, क्योंकि ये फौरी असर करता है। पेशेंट्स वापस आके बताते हैं इट वर्क्स।
आपकी जरा सी एहतियात बहुत सी कीमती जानें बचा सकती है। गैस लीकेज की सूरत में माचिस हरगिज न जलाएं। बिजली का कोई स्विच ऑन या ऑफ न करें। खिड़कियों और दरवाजे खोल दें। फौरन खुली हवा में आ जाएं। मेन वॉल्व बंद कर दें। गैस के गैर मयारी आलात का इस्तेमाल जानलेवा साबित हो सकता है। गैस लीकेज की इत्तला फौरन 1199 पर दें। सुई नॉर्दर्न गैस।
अम्मी, क्या लड़कियां पायलट नहीं बनती?
ये देखो तुम्हारे बाल, ये जैसे चाहे बन सकते हैं, क्योंकि ये मजबूत हैं। तुम भी जो चाहो बन सकती हो, क्योंकि तुम भी मजबूत हो। एक माँ ही बनाती है बेटी को जड़ से मजबूत। जैसे लाइफ बॉय शैम्पू का नया एलोवेरा और मिल्क प्रोटीन फॉर्मूला बाल बनाए मजबूत। लाइफ बॉय शैम्पू, तुम मजबूत हो।
पॉन्ड्स स्किन इंस्टीट्यूट का नया पॉन्ड्स ब्राइट ब्यूटी फेस वॉश, जिसमें है नायासिनामाइड विटामिन B3। ये डीप क्लेंस करे, दे 4x ब्राइटनिंग, ताकि आपको मिले अल्टीमेट ब्राइट स्किन। पॉन्ड्स, मिरेकल्स हैपन।
पेशेंट्स मुझे अक्सर कंप्लेन करते हैं कि कोई भी ठंडी या गर्म चीज़ जैसे कि आइसक्रीम, चाय या कॉफ़ी लेने से दांतों में शदीद तकलीफ का एहसास होता है। इस सेंसेशन को हम सेंसिटिविटी कहते हैं और इसका असर इनकी रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी पर भी पड़ता है। ये खुद से ठीक नहीं होती। सेंसोडाइन रैपिड एक्शन सिर्फ 60 सेकंड्स में आराम देता है और इसके बाद आप अपनी मनपसंद चीजें और खाने एंजॉय कर सकते हैं। मैं रेकमेंड करती हूँ सेंसोडाइन रैपिड एक्शन का रोजाना बाकायदगी से इस्तेमाल, क्योंकि ये फौरी असर करता है। पेशेंट्स वापस आके बताते हैं इट वर्क्स।
सिर्फ क्रीम नहीं, पाकिस्तान की नंबर 1 सीरम क्रीम। इसका एडवांस्ड मल्टीविटामिन सीरम गहराई तक जाए, दाग धब्बे घटाए और रोजाना इस्तेमाल दे 3 गुना ग्लो। 1, 2, 3 गुना ग्लो। ग्लो एंड लवली।
आपके बाल सबसे घने कब थे?
जब मेरी नानी मेरे बालों का ख्याल रखती थी। जब हेयर फॉल नहीं था।
हेयर फॉल है डैमेज की निशानी, इसीलिए डैमेज एक्सपर्ट डव, जिसका 1/4 मॉइस्चराइजिंग मिल्क और न्यूट्री सीरम, जो जड़ से सिरे तक बालों को नरिश करे, पहले वॉश से हेयर फॉल कम करे। अब बाल दिखें घने फिर से। डव हेयर फॉल रेस्क्यू।
ग्लो एंड लवली सिर्फ क्रीम नहीं, सीरम क्रीम। इसका मल्टीविटामिन सीरम गहराई में जाए, दाग धब्बे घटाए, दे 3 गुना ब्राइट ग्लो। धूप में भी हम है तैयार। ग्लो एंड लवली सीरम क्रीम।
माही, तुझे मुझसे प्यार बहुत है।
ओए नहीं पगली, मेरे पास डेटा बहुत है।
यूफोन 4G की सोशल एक्सट्रीम ऑफर से एंजॉय करो 25 GB डेटा और 100 ऑफ नेट मिनट्स, क्योंकि यूफोन 4G के पास डेटा बहुत है।
चाय चाहिए कौन सी जना, लिप्टन ही को है, लिप्टन पीजिए।
आपके बाल सबसे घने कब थे?
जब मेरी नानी मेरे बालों का ख्याल रखती थी। जब हेयर फॉल नहीं था।
हेयर फॉल है डैमेज की निशानी, इसीलिए डैमेज एक्सपर्ट डव, जिसका 1/4 मॉइस्चराइजिंग मिल्क और न्यूट्री सीरम, जो जड़ से सिरे तक बालों को नरिश करे, पहले वॉश से हेयर फॉल कम करे। अब बाल दिखें घने फिर से। डव हेयर फॉल रेस्क्यू।
When you were in Pakistan, what have you noticed? What things we should do? Like the way you have given an excellent example of Malaysia, Singapore, UAE. It's an excellent example to tell someone that resources don't really matter, but will matters.
Yeah.
So the thing is, what Pakistan need to do at this particular stage when we are facing a lot of challenges, including economic challenges as well.
Yeah.
So we have we have seen economic crisis recently, and now things getting better in Pakistan. It's stable now.
Yeah.
So what would you suggest to Pakistan, that in which sector we should be more focused so that we can only work on 2-3 main sectors and bring prosperity in our country through those projects? Like 3-4, we need to identify and prioritize those projects. In your opinion, what those projects are, 1, and 2, how was your experience with SIFC?
Well, look, first thing is, I was very impressed with the SIFC. The model is an excellent idea.
Wow.
It's clear that the government is prioritizing economic development, and talking about it out loud is the first step. Thinking hard about it and having whole of government. The Prime Minister himself was focused on SIFC. The general who is running it was impressive. And the work that they're doing is forcing the government to think hard about what are we doing with policies that will create economic opportunity for the next generation. That's exactly what a government should be thinking. Because it's very easy to make easy decisions that aren't going to be as easy for the next generation. Because you make a decision for right now to make life easy, it can be harder down the road, right? Sometimes you take hard choices now to make things easier down the road. So SIFC is talking about the future. It's talking about what the economic development should be. And so it's forcing decisions that can be hard. And I think one of the decisions that's very hard is, for instance, cutting taxes on job creation in corporations. A lot of people feel bad about cutting taxes for corporations because they think, well, corporations are rich. Why should we cut their taxes? I'll look bad. It won't appeal to people. They'd rather see me cut their taxes, not the taxes of a corporation, right?
Yeah.
So as a politician, your short-term incentive might be, let's maintain the tax rate. But what you want to say instead is, if you have a plan and a strategy, this is an area we want Pakistan to be world-beating, the world's best. I think the next phase is continue to host investors coming in and then listen to what they say.
Okay.
So if you choose, every country has a few sectors where they can be the best in the world. And when you choose those and you think about those, then it's good to bring in investors and say, hey, I got a question for you. What would make you want to invest $1 billion here instead of $1 billion next door? What are the things? And usually when you talk to investors, there's 5 things. Okay. One is tax, because it's just a cost of business.
Yeah.
Another one is regulation, because that is time and complexity and not knowing securely whether your business will be able to make it. So you make regulation clear and simple, you make taxes low. A critical one is talent. As I build this business and invest all this money, will there be the young people, the smart people that can make sure this business thrives and operate it effectively, right? Some businesses are very technical. So you need to know that the universities can provide a smart flow of talent to maintain your business and keep it going. Fourth one is the enabling industries I talked about. Is this a place where my business can thrive because I have good banking opportunities? I've got good logistics. Maybe it's cargo overseas or the chance to ship things around Pakistan if it's a domestic market, right? And the fifth one is very interesting, but the fifth one is lifestyle. Because if I'm going to invest $1 billion, think about yourself, right? If you're going to invest $1 billion somewhere, you want to go there and walk around. And if the place doesn't feel like a great place to live, then you don't really want to invest your money and your time and your energy there. And so one of the things that happens with foreign direct investment is you can't just check the box only on economic things. If I'm going to invest $1 billion into Pakistan, I'm going to be asking 200 people to move from other countries to Pakistan to live, put their kids into school, make friends, explore the country. And so that fifth pillar is very important.
Right. So let me rephrase that question for you. That there have been a lot of bureaucratic hurdles in Pakistan, for foreign investors and domestic investors as well.
Yeah.
So did you find those hurdles still there?
I don't know, is the honest question, because I was being introduced to the SIFC, introduced to ideas, and I work with a lot of large companies, and so I'm interested. So I think so
were they satisfied with the process?
Well, I didn't bring my clients with me, but what Ambassador Siddiqui and the cabinet that we met with, the SIFC, we met with the finance minister, what they did was they showed that they're very open to have the conversation about what it would take to bring in a great company and how they can think about it. And that's the right place for Pakistan to be. And in fact, it should never change. You always want to be having the conversation.
So we have seen a recent change in USA. 47th American president has taken oath. So our reliance is on West more than any other continent, because most of the exports are relying on Europe and America.
Yeah.
So when you see recent statements of American president, so you realize one thing: if he's imposing tariffs on China, so what would be the position of other countries, like the weaker countries, developing countries? What would be their status then?
It's a great question, Adil. I think that the United States is balancing 3 or 4 different considerations in every relationship that they have. One consideration is security. If you look at the potential for tariffs, he talked yesterday about the largest tariffs being Mexico and Canada, two closest neighbors.
Yeah.
But the reason for that in both cases is because of border security. The America wants to be sure that it's very secure. And so the economic tariffs are being used to target security issues that they see for their borders. So it's an unusual time right now. So every relationship that America has is going to be seen through a lens of security, economic opportunity, geopolitical strategy. This is where Pakistan has amazing history, right?
Yeah.
Pakistan's been at the center of all kinds of geopolitical history.
Yeah,
it's like this,
right.
Canadian history is super boring by comparison. Pakistan's got all kinds of stuff going on,
exactly.
right?
I agree with you.
And you've got fractured different groups inside Pakistan historically, right? So you've got a lot going on, and I think any partner, which is how.
But for Canada, Trump has already said that he wants to make 51 states.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Canada can make its history while interacting with President Trump.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this guy's he's a real estate developer from New York. He's good at making people feel like he's negotiating, right? So, I think the relationship of the United States to Pakistan will always have a military component, a geopolitical component, an economic component, clearly an energy component, and energy and security are closely related. But I think that the critical thing for leaders in Pakistan and for people like yourself that are leading the conversation about things is to think, it's actually a good idea always, I think, but think about, as somebody in Pakistan, if I was going to look at investing in another country, what would it take for me to want to do that? And what would it mean for me to invest in that country instead of the country next door, right? And when you answer that question for yourself, you realize you have the same considerations as the people you're trying to attract into Pakistan. But also, and this is where we started the conversation, you want to create the conditions at home for your homegrown Pakistani entrepreneurs to be the winners, right? And one of the things the U.S. is doing with tariffs, it's trying to create a better opportunity for their homegrown talent. And I think that's the way that conversation is going to evolve on tariffs. So I think that knowing and understanding what the Americans are looking for now is going to be important. But it's very similar to what Pakistan would be looking for with its neighbors.
Yeah. So this tariff increase will bring more inflation in the world?
Look, I am, full disclosure, my own biases, I am very much a free trade guy. I think that each country has natural advantages and natural challenges.
Okay.
And that the way you create the greatest prosperity for the most human beings in the world is trading natural advantages between countries.
Yeah.
If the Austrians are really good at making Porsche and Audi and Mercedes, buy cars from Austria, right?
Yeah.
But maybe they're not so good at some other things.
EV.
Yeah. We trade. We create global trade, creates economic dependencies, and that helps create a better opportunity for peace between nations and prosperity for people. So I don't like tariffs because tariffs lead to frictions in that trade that make people less prosperous.
बोनस ट्राई स्टार बनाए झाग ज्यादा, निकाले दाग ज्यादा, कपड़े धोए सबसे ज्यादा। वाह क्या बात है बोनस की। घर से निकलते वक्त चाची ने गुस्से से कहा,
सुनो घर बैठो और प्याज काटो।
पर मैंने सिर्फ प्याज नहीं काटी, अपना पार्लर भी खोला।
टूट रहे हैं, काट दो।
प्याज है, प्याज बाल टूटेंगे नहीं, बढ़ने दो यार। प्याज से बना नया सनसिल्क अनियन शैम्पू, ये पहले वॉश से लंबे बालों का टूटना 90% कम करे।
वंडरफुल, नाइस शॉट।
नो टूटना, ओनली बढ़ना। सनसिल्क।
मैम, कार्ड या कैश?
जैस कैश।
बनाओ जैज़ कैश से पेमेंट ऑन द गो को अपनी सुपर पावर।
मानो कैसी फिकर
ये जिद्दी दाग।
आंटी सर्फ एक्सेल है ना?
नए सर्फ एक्सेल की स्टेन लिफ्टर टेक्नोलॉजी खींच निकाले हर तरह के जिद्दी दाग, तो दागों से क्या डरना।
सर्फ एक्सेल है ना।
तेजी से फैलती डिजिटल दुनिया एक जबरदस्त सलाहियत के साथ साथ एक अहम जिम्मेदारी भी। इलेक्ट्रॉनिक जालसाजी, स्पैमिंग, धोखाधड़ी, बशमूल आइडेंटिटी थेफ्ट, चाइल्ड पोर्नोग्राफी और साइबर स्टॉकिंग और अनचाही मुदाखलत करना वगैरह संगीन जराइम हैं। अगर आप इसमें हुकूमत की मुआवनत करना चाहते हैं तो बराह करम हमारी हेल्पलाइन पर कॉल करें।
सिर्फ क्रीम नहीं, पाकिस्तान की नंबर 1 सीरम क्रीम। इसका एडवांस्ड मल्टीविटामिन सीरम गहराई तक जाए, दाग धब्बे घटाए और रोजाना इस्तेमाल दे 3 गुना ग्लो। 1, 2, 3 गुना ग्लो। ग्लो एंड लवली।
क्या आपको चाहिए शाइनी बाल?
सनसिल्क ब्लैक शाइन में है 5 नेचुरल ऑयल्स के साथ विटामिन ई का सुपर मिक्स, जो दे आपके बालों को अप टू 24 आवर्स शाइन। अब बाल करी शाइन ऑल द टाइम विद सनसिल्क ब्लैक शाइन।
चलो स्टार्ट करो।
लेज में 25% एक्स्ट्रा चिप्स।
काश लाइफ में भी कुछ एक्स्ट्रा होता।
जैसे एक्स्ट्रा गेमिंग,
एक्स्ट्रा शॉपिंग,
एक्स्ट्रा स्वैग, एक्स्ट्रा मैजिक,
एक्स्ट्रा ड्रामा, एक्स्ट्रा केयर,
एक्स्ट्रा हॉर्स पावर,
एक्स्ट्रा चिप्स,
एक्स्ट्रा चिप्स। Raise ₹30 or ₹50 pack with 25% extra chips. Extra chips,
एक्स्ट्रा जॉय। घर से निकलते वक्त चाची ने गुस्से से कहा,
सुनो, घर बैठो और प्याज काटो।
पर मैंने सिर्फ प्याज नहीं काटी, अपना पार्लर भी खोला।
टूट रहे हैं, काट दो।
प्याज है,
प्याज
बाल टूटेंगे नहीं, बढ़ने दो यार। प्याज से बना नया सनसिल्क अनियन शैम्पू, ये पहले वॉश से लंबे बालों का टूटना 90% कम करे।
वंडरफुल, नाइस शॉट।
नो टूटना, ओनली बढ़ना। सनसिल्क। चलो स्टार्ट करो।
लेज में 25% एक्स्ट्रा चिप्स।
काश लाइफ में भी कुछ एक्स्ट्रा होता।
जैसे एक्स्ट्रा गेमिंग,
एक्स्ट्रा शॉपिंग,
एक्स्ट्रा स्वैग, एक्स्ट्रा मैजिक,
एक्स्ट्रा ड्रामा, एक्स्ट्रा केयर,
एक्स्ट्रा हॉर्स पावर,
एक्स्ट्रा चिप्स,
एक्स्ट्रा चिप्स। Raise ₹30 or ₹50 pack with 25% extra chips. Extra chips,
एक्स्ट्रा जॉय। लाइफ में कुछ एक्स्ट्रा मिल जाए तो कितना अच्छा लगता है।
Raise ₹30 or ₹50 pack with 25% extra chips. Extra chips,
एक्स्ट्रा जॉय।
माही, तुझे मुझसे प्यार बहुत है।
ओए नहीं पगली, मेरे पास डेटा बहुत है।
यूफोन 4G की सोशल एक्सट्रीम ऑफर से एंजॉय करो 25 GB डेटा और 100 ऑफ नेट मिनट्स, क्योंकि यूफोन 4G के पास डेटा बहुत है।
चाय चाहिए कौन सी जना, लिप्टन ही तो है, लिप्टन पीजिए।
सिर्फ क्रीम नहीं, पाकिस्तान की नंबर 1 सीरम क्रीम। इसका एडवांस्ड मल्टीविटामिन सीरम गहराई तक जाए, दाग धब्बे घटाए और रोजाना इस्तेमाल दे 3 गुना ग्लो। 1, 2, 3 गुना ग्लो। ग्लो एंड लवली।
What is the role of financial institutions, private sectors, how they can, bring change there in Pakistan if they want to, keeping technology and advancement in the mind?
Well, look, I think when we talked about enabling technology, enabling capital, enabling logistics, right? All of those things make every other possible application more efficient, more profitable, better. And so I think it's very important that you have powerful banks with deep pools of capital that lend, and are incented to lend money, because then you get momentum in a marketplace. Somebody's an entrepreneur, has a good idea, he wants to make microphones in Pakistan. He can borrow the capital to actually deliver that idea into the marketplace. And over time, that's where you get the winners. Right, that's where you get the companies that emerge, and soon they become huge companies. They make people wealthy because they own a stake in that company on the stock market. They employ tens of thousands of people, and they bring jobs and overall prosperity. And it starts with creating the right conditions. Every company is sort of like a plant. It needs a little bit of sunshine from their banks. It needs a little bit of water from, the technology required to let it grow. It needs the nutrients, of the inputs that allow it to become something that can then produce good fruit and start to expand. And so there's an organic quality to the economic development of companies. But when you create the right conditions for those companies to grow, sort of right greenhouse conditions for those companies to grow, then as they grow, they start to create their own economic effects. So pretty soon, you see it every time in a neighborhood where you get like a smart company starts to grow. Pretty soon there's a couple new restaurants. There's a good cafe, then there's a place for people to go out at night, and then there's the homes get better. People start fixing them up, the home prices go up, and soon there's a school nearby. And so there's an organic effect of economic development that leads to better lifestyles and better prosperity. And in the minds of many people, if you just talk about the economics, we want to cut the taxes. So this guy, they're like, that's so boring, right? Most people aren't interested in politics or economics. But what they love is when they see their neighborhood getting prosperous. The restaurant down the street is cooler. The cafe is serving better coffee, a little more expensive. The school is nicer for their kids. There's they can afford a better car, and their lifestyle is better. It's easier to take a vacation with their kids. And that's what economic development does, is it creates conditions where you sort of say, hey, the government can't hire everybody. The government can't employ everybody. If they do, it turns into socialism, and that always doesn't work out. But the government can create the right conditions for companies to expand and hire and create new products and develop new things. In any economy you look at, the biggest consumption of most products for most companies is at home with other Pakistanis, who are the best judges of the quality and the stuff they're getting. And so when you're looking at bringing companies in, one of the best ways to do that is make the best conditions for Pakistani entrepreneurs and Pakistani companies to thrive and hire people.
Did you see the news about the $20 billion World Bank loan for Pakistan? How do you think it will benefit the country? I need your analysis.
I don't know enough about it in order to comment. And so I'm going to reserve comment on that because I haven't really read it. I just saw it.
But what does it show? Does it show that Pakistan's economy is getting better?
Yeah, look, I was very impressed. I think it depends a lot on sectors. I think every aspect of an economy has to be looked at on its own terms. But yeah, I got the sense when I was there that Pakistan is starting to create the right steps to undo a legacy where there was maybe too much government in a previous era. And as they've started to sort of create more privatized companies that have to serve Pakistanis directly and earn every dollar they get, right? Because governments don't have to earn any money from you. They tell you what's going on, right? They don't have to earn.
Expertise in financial technology of USA, if we say, how can we get benefit of it, like Pakistanis?
Well, look, I think the biggest thing that happens with technology is once consumers experience it, that's their new expectation. So once you have Amazon deliver things right to your door every day, that's your new expectation. Then you're a little bit frustrated when it takes the government too long to get something done. So it puts pressure on the system because people realize, hey, you can do very complex things in a smart way, faster, more efficiently. So now that's my new expectation. And so I think when you look at the financial system, as people have moved away from branches and started to do a lot more on handsets, that's now creating the expectation for people that they could do more with financial technology to access things. The algorithms now for AIs are starting to make it easier for banks to know if they can make a bet on you, if they can actually invest with you, etc.
They are analyzing our status these days, customer status as compared to the typical traditional style of bankers.
Yeah.
So would you like to give any message to BOL TV's viewers or any entrepreneurs who are working there in Pakistan or who want to do something for Pakistan? Your advice for BOL TV viewers?
BOL TV viewers, sure. I've got advice. Number one, you live in an incredible country with an incredible heritage and incredible history. Number two, if you look around the world and you read history, you find out that so many people have so much less to start with than Pakistan has. And it's important to feel blessed by that, but also to realize the challenge isn't maybe what you have, but the kinds of conditions you can set to create more. And the third thing I'd say is, it's important to draw in capital, and I'm very interested to be back in Pakistan and bring a couple of clients with me.
Sure.
So hopefully we bring some capital
from
with us.
From which countries?
Well, I think there's some interesting opportunities in mining and energy infrastructure and infrastructure generally.
All right. So which countries are more interested in these projects?
Well, the countries that really build those kinds of things. So the clients I have are clients from some financial clients or family offices.
Okay.
But infrastructure clients from places like Canada, the United States.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they are more interested in investing in Pakistan in these sectors.
Everybody wants to take a look now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much.
Let's tell him to let me know.
I think your interview will definitely help him out.
He can teach me how to be a batsman, and I can teach him how to do some finance.
That's great. Perfect. So thank you so much for giving your precious time. I really thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed this interview too.
I certainly
Thank
did.
you.
Okay,
Take good care.
thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. See you.
This program is brought to you by
कपड़े धोए सबसे ज्यादा, वाह क्या बात है बोनस की।
Nice shot.
नो टूटना, ओनली बढ़ना। सनसिल्क।
कोलगेट मैक्स फ्रेश, नींद भगाओ, ताजगी जगाओ।
बाल बनाए मजबूत, लाइफ बॉय शैम्पू, तुम मजबूत हो।
Lay's ₹30 or ₹50 pack with 25% extra chip.
12 माह की फ्री रिप्लेसमेंट गारंटी के साथ सागा बैटरी।
जैस, मेरी सुपर पावर।
कर्शी टूथिया से अब नो खड़खड़ाहट, ओनली मुस्कुराहट।
एंड
पेशेंट्स वापस आके बताते हैं इट वर्क्स।
एक नए अज़्म के बोल, इत्तेहादो यगानगत के बोल, अवाम के ख्वाबों के बोल, पाकिस्तान की तामीर, तरक्की और इस्तेहकाम के बोल, बोल पाकिस्तान के साथ।
बोल जो है वो आपको एक एक लम्हे की खबर दे रहा है।
Democratic leader Tom Suozzi, and we are going to discuss what new steps is the US and Pakistani caucus taking to deepen diplomatic ties further.
शुक्रिया, thank you so much for having me.
पूरे दिन की थकन के बाद इंटरव्यूज थे, कुछ इंटरव्यू किए, कुछ मीटिंग्स की, कुछ प्रोग्राम्स अटेंड किए। उसके बाद अब मैं न्यूयॉर्क में भूख लगी है सब और खाना खाने जा रहा हूँ। न्यूयॉर्क में ये एक एपेग है जो पाकिस्तानी एडवोकेसी करते हैं अमेरिकन्स और पाकिस्तानी अमेरिकन्स के बीच में ताल्लुकात रखते हैं। मैं इस वक्त मौजूद हूँ न्यूयॉर्क में वॉल स्ट्रीट पर। मेरे पीछे जो ये आपको ब्रॉन्ज बुल नजर आ रहा है, ये यहाँ पर सिंबल है इनकी जो इकोनॉमिक पावर है उसका। और न्यूयॉर्क का हमारा सफर अब खत्म हुआ। न्यूयॉर्क से हम जाएंगे वॉशिंगटन DC, जहाँ अमेरिकन प्रेसिडेंट की ओथ टेकिंग सेरेमनी है।
जी, मैं इस वक्त अमेरिका के कैपिटल वॉशिंगटन डीसी में मौजूद हूँ। बर्फबारी हो रही है। कल अमेरिकी सदर हलफ उठाने वाले, माइनस टेम्परेचर में रिपोर्टिंग कर रहा हूँ। जी, मैं इस वक्त मौजूद हूँ वॉशिंगटन डीसी में, कैपिटल हिल, कैपिटल रोटुंडा। आज दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी जो जमहूरियत है उसकी वोट टेकिंग सेरेमनी को होस्ट करेगा ये मकाम जो आप मेरे पीछे देख रहे हैं। We have with us Caroline, representative of Voice of America, American President Donald Trump.
They'll be different. They'll be much different than the last 4 years.
दुनिया के तमाम बड़े शहरों से बर्फ पहुंचा रहा है हर खबर बोल न्यूज।
मास्टर वेदर रेजिस्टेंट पेंट जो रख के आपकी घर की बैरूनी दीवारों को सर्दी के सब असरात से महफूज। मास्टर वेदर रेजिस्टेंट, लंबा चलेगा।
सिर्फ दूध से नहीं बल्कि आसानी का दूध से प्लस मिनट भी।
तमाम दवाएं बच्चों से दूर रखें। खुराक लेवल पर दी गई हिदायत के मुताबिक इस्तेमाल करें। तबीयत ज्यादा खराब हो तो डॉक्टर से रुजू करें।
मेरी सुपर पावर। एंजॉयमेंट की सुपर पावर। जैस मेरी सुपर पावर।
This hourly clock is brought to you by
All moisturized or scalp refreshed. Hello Hair Anti-Dandruff Shampoo.
This headline news is brought to you by
वाह क्या बात है बोनस।
Bill further to amend the Prevention of Electronic Crimes Act 2016, the Prevention of Electronic Crimes Amendment Bill 2025, as reported by the Standing Committee, be taken into consideration at once.
All those in favor of the motion may say aye. All those against it may say no. I think ayes have it. Consequently, motion is adopted.
पी का एक्ट तरमीमी बिल कौमी असम्बली से मंजूर। बिल वफाकी वजीर राना तनवीर की जानिब से पेश किया गया जिसे ऐवान ने कसरत राय से मंजूर कर लिया। हुकूमत की किसी भी इत्तेहादी जमात की जानिब से पी का एक्ट तरमीमी बिल की मुखालफत नहीं की गई। ऑपोजिशन ने वॉकआउट करके एहतजाज रिकॉर्ड कराया। ऑपोजिशन अरकान बिल पेश होने से कबल ही ऐवान से चले गए। सहाफियों ने प्रेस गैलरी से वॉकआउट किया।
बिल आया है, ये डिजिटल मीडिया पे आया है, ये इलेक्ट्रॉनिक और प्रिंट की स्पेस बढ़ाने के लिए आया। कोई भी शख्स जो पेशा सहाफत से मुंसलिक है या वो सहाफी है या वर्किंग जर्नलिस्ट है, वो इस बिल से इफेक्ट नहीं होता।
कानून साजी सोशल मीडिया के लिए है। वर्किंग जर्नलिस्ट को तहफ़्फ़ुज़ मिलेगा। तरमीमी एक्ट से इलेक्ट्रॉनिक और प्रिंट मीडिया मुतासिर नहीं होगा। ये सहाफ़ियों के तहफ़्फ़ुज़ की जानिब अहम कदम है। वज़ीर इत्तलात अतातार की पार्लियामेंट प्रेस गैलरी में मीडिया से गुफ्तगू कहा। डिजिटल मीडिया पर सहावत के नाम पर इल्ज़ाम तराशी की जाती है, कोई जवाबदही नहीं है, कोई नोटिस नहीं होता। सोशल मीडिया से लाखों कमाने वाले टैक्स क्यों नहीं देते?
निकल रहा साथ ही कहता है मैं मुज़ाकरात के खिलाफ नहीं। जब कोई फ्रीकैन जो है सियासी हों या अदरवाइज हों वो मुज़ाकरात में लगे रहते हैं तो कहीं ना कहीं जो है ना कोई हल निकल आता है। किस चीज़ का जुडिशल कमीशन बनाना है ये मुझे कोई बताए। इसके अलावा वो तमाम लोग जिनको सजाएं हुई हैं उन्होंने कन्फेशंस की हैं।
सारी दुनिया में सोशल मीडिया पर पाबंदी है। ये चीज़ अमेरिका में भी हो रही है। वफाकी वज़ीर दिफा ख्वाजा आसिफ की पार्लियामेंट हाउस के बाहर मीडिया से बात। कहा मुज़ाकरात वालों को खुद भी पता नहीं है, इसका कोई नतीजा नहीं निकलना। ये किस चीज़ का जुडिशल कमीशन बनाना चाहते हैं? जिनको सज़ा हुई उन्होंने एतराफ़े जुर्म किया। जब मैं कैद में था तो मुझे सिर्फ एक कंबल दिया गया था। पीका एक्ट में तरमीम धोखाधड़ी है। पाकिस्तान फेडरल यूनियन ऑफ जर्नलिस्ट का मजम्मती रद्दअमल। सावती तंजीमों की ज्वाइंट एक्शन कमेटी ने पीका एक्ट में तरमीम को मुस्तरद कर दिया। मुस्तरद का बयान में कहा कि ज्वाइंट एक्शन कमेटी के मेंबरान से कोई ड्राफ्ट शेयर नहीं किया गया है। ड्राफ्ट पढ़े बगैर कोई कमेटी रुकन तरमीम पर तबसरे की पोजीशन में नहीं है।
Digitalization all over the country and of course IT-led initiatives. This new program known as Country Partnership Framework Program, which spans over 10 years with a ticket item of $20 billion.
कंट्री पार्टनरशिप फ्रेमवर्क प्रोग्राम के तहत वर्ल्ड बैंक पाकिस्तान में $20 अरब खर्च करेगा। प्रोग्राम 10 साल के लिए है। वजीर आजम का पाकिस्तान में वर्ल्ड बैंक कंट्री पार्टनरशिप फ्रेमवर्क तकरीब से खिताब। उन्होंने कहा, आलमी बैंक का पाकिस्तान के निज़ाम पर मुकम्मल एतमाद है। आलमी मालियाती इदारे ने पाकिस्तान के कई शोबों में ताउन किया है।
This will give me opportunity to refresh my German, which I learned 50 years ago. So allow me to say a few sentences in your honor. Stärkung der Partnerschaft zwischen Pakistan und die Weltbank.
वज़ीर आज़म शहबाज शरीफ ने जर्मन और अरबी ज़बान में महारत के साथ गुफ्तगू करके शुरा को हैरान कर दिया। जर्मनी से ताल्लुक़ रखने वाले वर्ल्ड बैंक के नायब सदर